Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Zone. I am your CD guy, Sean. Now, CD is short for community development. I'm a community development expert. And thanks for joining me here, especially on a Saturday night here. I really do appreciate it. For those of you who have never been here before, Zone is an acronym and it does stand out for Zoomed Out News. And the goal with this channel, this podcast that I'm trying to do, is just really just kind of bring some things going on around the world, starting off at the local level of where I am currently located, which is the Albuquerque area of New Mexico. And then I zoom out and do something at the state level, and then something around the country, and then something around the world to finish everything off here. So that's the layout here. So this is my fifth episode. I'm pretty stoked about that. So now I can literally say, I got a handful of episodes out there. Yeah. All right, well, let's get started here tonight. Now, I do actually have two quick things to start off with. For those of you in the land of enchantment, tomorrow is the last day for the country's first and the world's largest chocolate and coffee festival. If you are a fan of either of those things or like to enjoy snacks and things of that nature, it's a great thing to go to. I went to it many years ago, and I'm excited to be going back tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to get my coffee on tomorrow. I'm excited. And then secondly, this is kind of a gee whiz thing. Did you guys know that there's actually a women's professional football league out there here in the United States? It's pretty new. There are only a couple games in the season here, but I'm kind of having fun watching it here. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Sports are a big part of my life, and they're a great part of communities. So I just kind of want to bring that to your attention. So go if you're looking for some football to watch on a random weekend here. The women are doing it, and Golden State Storm. I am a fan. You are my team, and go get them. All right, now let's go ahead and get started. All right, so locally here, this first thing is going to be about Albuquerque. And being that we are all on this little planet here called Earth, we can do what we want to develop our cities to build up, but we still have to compete and not compete necessarily, but work with Mother Nature. And what happened here within the last week is that we had a surplus of tumbleweeds that had gotten out onto one of our main streets, and actually to the point where they had to shut it down. Now, as a kid, I watched the cartoons, and they have that music with like the whistle going on, and a tumbleweed will stumble through there. And unless you live out here or someplace that has them, it could almost seem like these things are made up, but they're not. They are real, and they come in all different sizes too. Like I have seen some the size of, like a basketball, and then I've seen some the size of a car. So it, when they shut the street down, it was definitely due for safety. They're not heavy, but they are bulky, and you don't want to come in contact with that if you make a quick maneuver to go aside from it or slam on your brakes to avoid hitting it. This is going to cause some accidents, which is going to cause damage and possibly impact some lives here. So even as much as we have everything built up in our communities here, we are still contending with nature. So something to kind of keep in mind here. And again, it's not something you hear about every day where a bunch of tumbleweeds got out into the street and they had to close it down. So it's kind of funny, a little bit lighthearted. So I wanted to bring that to you. Now let's zoom out to the state of New Mexico itself. Now I came across something that I really hadn't ever considered before. And this one is about prisons. Here in the state of New Mexico, there are a couple of inmates in one of the prisons who are suing the system. The reason that they're doing that is they are forbidding them to have access to physical books. In the past, the books have been used to smuggle in contraband, drugs, all that good stuff, or not the good stuff, but all the things that they shouldn't have. Now, on the other side of that, though, these people are also trying to learn. They're trying to educate themselves. They are trying to better themselves. And even though they have digital options, those digital options are more limited. Even some of the coursework that they are trying to take right now for themselves are they just don't have the access to the books that they need. So they are suing the New Mexico State prison system to be able to go ahead and get access to hard copies of books again. And here's the biggest kicker: the things that they were trying to avoid with like the contraband coming in the system, that has not declined. So their goal with canceling it was to limit the access of the contraband, but that hasn't changed. So, I mean, if that was the intended goal and the goal is not being met, then why not reintroduce, hard copy books? At least that's my thought about it. I know these people have committed crimes, some of them atrocities, but they are still, humans, and there's a lot of them that come out of the system and are great contributors to society. Why not give them the education and books to help pass the time too? So that was something I came across here. Now we'll zoom out here to the country level, and again, there's a whole lot of stuff going on right now, and a lot of it isn't good. But I did come across something that is a passion of mine. And what I've been doing lately is to try to choose a state that I know nothing about for the most part. And I chose New Hampshire. And again, this is about a passion of mine, and that is maple syrup. Who doesn't love maple syrup? I know everyone loves pumpkin spice in the fall. Screw that. I'm all about the maple. So with the article that I came across is really just kind of talking about, the farming system that's out there right now for the farmers. And whether you know it or not, the springtime is when they actually go ahead and tap the trees for the sap and actually produce everything. It's not the fall. It's actually the spring when all that happens. And it was just kind of going into where, there's, the legacy, the tradition of doing this. And a lot of people will have jobs throughout the year. And then they come back in the springtime, take a little bit of work off to go ahead and run the farm for that time period. And how they're also integrating like technology where, usually a tap in a bucket was what was done for, a very long period of time. Now they have tubes and they just kind of run down to a system that collects all of the sap so they don't have to go out and do, tree by tree, if you will. But part of the article is also discussing how the tradition of maple syrup farming is kind of dying. And, from what I've read around for other things too, just like farming, the way of life is kind of dying out. Like people are getting older, they're retiring, they are passing on. And there are not people that are, taking up the mantle to go ahead and continue on those as much as there have been in the past. So it did kind of shine light on that too. So that's something that I would not have considered or thought about here. So get to know about that, and maybe we can all go visit a farm and get more educated on the process and what it all entails. And then another thing, and I've talked about this in other episodes too from around the world and even here in New Mexico, climate change. And I talked about, excessive heat and how in Peru, excessive flooding is actually spreading and causing more disease because of the climate changing. Well, climate change is affecting the farming up in New Hampshire as well. The trees are not producing as much sap because it's hotter. The conditions are just not what they once were. So I don't intend to make it a topic or a piece of this every single week, but it just keeps happening. And I guess it just really goes to show how much this really is impacting in the little ways. And, it's like a ripple effect here. Like one little thing can actually create a bigger and bigger and bigger issue. So it really should be on all of our minds. All right, coming out to our last stop here, zooming out to that world level. I actually saw this week when I was on social media, and I think it's so awesome that I needed to talk about it this week. This is coming out of South Korea. They have recently created a night busing system for women. It's amazing that they have it. It's a shame that they have to, though. But this is intended to go ahead and safely get women from place to place at nighttime in South Korea. Now, I don't know the statistics as far as, crime or, victims or things of that nature. But if they're creating a system for this, then it's got to be kind of bad. But this is going to hopefully turn that around there. I'm glad again that they have something like this to go ahead and ensure that women are safe. And that, women are half the freaking population on the planet. Like they shouldn't have to, walk around in fear, especially at night. But I know that they already have the issues, in the daylight too. No, I'm happy that they have something like this in place. Hopefully, it gives them the results. Hopefully, this puts the women at ease and they can just get from place to place without having to worry about looking over their shoulder. And maybe if this is successful enough, this is something that can be brought to the States too. Because I know quite a few people who are out at night and could definitely use a safe, secure ride home when they're out and about here. So, all right. Well, that is this week's episode of Zone, episode 5. I got a handful now. Once again, I hope everybody enjoyed this, learning about little this, little that, opening up your eyes, giving you things to think about that you might not have thought about before. And again, these are not your main topics that are going on locally and around the world, but they are still happening and they are all important. So I do want to go ahead and kind of, again, bring that to you with this. So on that note, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Have a great one.